My name is Raj, and together with Berenice and Debora, we, as a team, have come up with a crisis management plan for Toronto RibFest. Starting with the introduction and overview about the RibFest. This familiar cultural event is in place since 1999. It is an annual event that has become traditional and offers high-quality entertainment and a great social gathering for family and friends. It also brings great programming such as amazing shows with local singers or bands, designed entertainment for children, a great variety of barbecued food and beverage. RibFest is going to be held at Etobicoke Centennial Park, Toronto during June 28, 2019 to July 1, 2019. The purpose of the event. Toronto RibFest counts with volunteers to create this huge festival, and what makes it special is that all revenue that is generated from this event is 100% donated to organizations that help people through the Rotary Club of Etobicoke. Here you can see the organizational chart for the festival.
The festival has a communication structure in order to make everything flows on the best way. During the event days, radios will be used as the main communication item, but in case of a problem happens, all the staff members will have their professional cell phone device in hand to avoid problems and answer to emergencies. In addition, during the event, there will have a special area named Administration and Communication, designed for emergent solutions and problem solving. This area will also be considered a meeting point for action plan discussions and directions or instructions for problem solving. To create a safety and personal protection for every attendee, the festival will have 3 emergency areas covered by ambulance, police car and emergency vehicles, and 3 medical stations with a first aid kit and with professionals to provide first aid support and CPR when necessary.
Risks and procedures. All incidents occurred during Toronto RibFest must have a full and detailed incident report form completed until 12 hours after the incident occurrence. 1 week before the event happens, all staff and volunteers will participate on a training to better understand the venue map and all the procedures if any problem becomes real. Now I will start to explain the list of risks and procedures of the situations that might happen at the Rib Festival. First one is Animal Rights Toronto protesting at the festival, which has a code orange. We are going to gather every single person involved in the organization of the event and expound the reason why the Animal Rights Toronto may show up to protest. We are going to advise all the volunteers to remain calm and never react or say a word to the protesters, and to avoid escalating the situation. Show the volunteers pictures and videos of the organization in action protesting at the events. A full and detailed incident report must be completed immediately after the occurrence. Parties involved: event organizers, volunteers, security, and police.
So, the next is missing person. If there is a missing person or a missing child, we would use yellow as a situation code. When family enters on the event site, they will be encouraged to take pictures of the family members. And in case someone goes missing, the family can easily describe the features of the missing person, such as the clothing the person is wearing. Such information helps on searching activity. Volunteers must notify the security immediately. Security must notify police and start the searching immediately. Use of megaphones to call attention of the attendees and the staff. A full and detailed incident report must be completed immediately after the occurrence. And the parties involved would be the volunteers, security, and the police. Next risk is dangerous fire. If there occurs any fire from barbecue vendors or any smoke is seen, we would use red as the situation code. All vendors are going to be inspected by the firefighters department and get the permission to work. This way, they'll be responsible for placing a safe work environment. All the vendors must have all fire prevention tools with them. In case of minor fire occurrences, we would use the fire extinguisher closest to the vendor, and in case of major fires, we'll call immediately the firefighters and let the medical staff know that there might be injured people around. Security must check the place the fire has occurred, and then a full and detailed incident report must be completed immediately after the occurrence. The parties involved for this situation would be security, police, medical team, and the firefighters. The next is violence. If you see any violent behavior around the event, we would use white as a situation code. Since a great part of the attendees will be drinking and might consume recreational drugs, this may lead to violent behavior during the event. Therefore, it is necessary to educate all volunteers about this situation by letting them know what to do. Volunteers must remain calm and must not approach, nor intervene, nor interact with the suspect. We shall call security immediately in this case. And if the fight escalates, security may call police for additional help. Security or police will remove the suspect out of the event venue, and a full and detailed incident report must be completed immediately after the occurrence. The parties involved in the situation would be security, police, and medical team. The next hazard would be people getting sick. If during the event someone gets sick or gets injured, we would use code blue to communicate. We would inform all volunteers about the location of the medical tents, since they will be able to lead the sick person to the location or call medical assistance on the spot where the sick person is. Most of the volunteers on RibFest are going to be CPR and First Aid certified. CPR and First Aid certified volunteers or attendees can start doing compressions if it is a cardiac situation. Volunteer will call for medical help from the event site, and if it gets more serious issue, we will call an ambulance to take the sick person out of the hospital. A full and complete incident report would be written with all the details. The parties involved in this situation would be volunteers, security, medical team, and the people with CPR certified. The next threat can be an event infrastructure failure. In case of infrastructure failure like tents, signage, stage breaking down, we would use brown as the situation code. All tents and temporary structures, suppliers that are listed to work on our event have government approval for being trustful and competent. Besides, all tents and temporary structures used on Toronto RibFest have permits from the City of Toronto as well as insurance. In case of infrastructural failure, the supplier company would be contacted immediately. Security experts comes to examine the severity of the incident and establish among their team that what is the best approach to tackle the issue. The crowd control expert to be called immediately and get a safe place for the attendees. For this case, a full and complete incident report should be written with all the details. Security, police, medical team, and emergency services would be the parties that would be involved. The next possibility of risk can be pickpockets. If someone finds any pickpocketers around the event, we would use white as a situation code. We will give training to the volunteers about pickpockets and give them information about how they behave, what kind of tools they use, and what they do when they're stealing attendees in such big events. We would call the security team to investigate the case and determine who is stealing from the attendees, and also inform police officers about the pickpockets' actions immediately. We would also check with the security staff whether they caught the suspects or not, and also inform the audiences that the problem was solved. The parties involved would be volunteers, security staff, and the police officers. One of the major threats to an event can be live gun shooting. During the event, if there takes place firing, orange would be the situation code. On the event entrances, there will be checking bag areas where trained staff will be checking all the attendees' bags. On the event side, there also will be police officers who are highly trained security staff and with authority to treat this case. We would ask volunteers to keep calm, help the attendees to lay down on the floor immediately, and then find a safe place to look for children and elderly people. We would call crowd control experts as they have an elaborate plan to be put up into action. We would take care of the injured people on site and place them into ambulances. And then after, a full and complete incident report should be written with all the details. Volunteers, police officers, security staff and the medical and the paramedical team would be parties involved in the situation.
Another risk that we have to do is a public transportation strike. To be prepared, we will maintain a close communication with the government and TTC authorities to make sure that there will be no problem on the event day. And, if possible, RibFest will get a signed contract with TTC to guarantee that a strike will not happen. However, the problem can happen, and as a reaction, we will post a social media warning to encourage people to use another kind of transportation. Not only a full and detailed incident report will be completed, but a public relations note will be sent out to address the crisis and the status of the event. Parties involved will be RibFest organizers and volunteers, TTC authorities, and the government.
Terrorism and bomb threat are other risks to be considered. Color Black is the situation code. We are going to prepare volunteers with workshops informing them the best way to behave in case of any threat. We are going to say that they must remain calm and communicate with the security to follow instructions. On the event entrances, there will be checking bag areas where trained staff will be checking all the attendees' bags to avoid the entrance of any bomb or terrorism item. We are going to communicate with the police. As a reaction, we are going to communicate with volunteers to remain calm and evacuate the area. We are also going to follow security and police instructions. Also, a full and complete incident report should be written with all the details. People involved in that are going to be volunteers, police officers, security staff, medical and paramedical.
The next is garbage generation. If we find garbage all over the place, we would use brown as the situation code. We have created a 2 team of 50 volunteers that will be looking after the garbage bins located all over the place. We will be encouraging attendees to enter Know Before You Throw campaign. The team volunteers would have a huge cart on wheels. They will also go around the site to see if there is any accumulation of garbage. As we are providing a 2 team of 50 hardworking volunteers, the amount of garbage generated will collect appropriately and timely. The parties involved for garbage collection would be volunteers, City of Toronto, and Garbage Collector Company. The next is the crowd control. If it gets overcrowded, we would use orange as the situation code. We have signed a contract with a security company specialized in crowd control in Canada. In case a major crowd control issue happens, we would use megaphones or microphones to talk to the mass and give instructions to remain calm and follow directions to find emergency exits. So, if the site gets under control, security will open the gates again. The parties involved in the crowd control would be security, police, medical team, and volunteers. The next is weather. We would notify all the volunteers about the weather prior to the day of the event. We will contact the Toronto's Weather Forecast Department to seek their advice for the best date for our event. That is the reason we still have an estimated date for the event. By doing that, we will have better chances of having a sunny bright day to hold the festival since it's an outdoor event. In case of hot heat waves, we are going to provide a shadow area with comfortable seating, water fountains and ventilation. We will fill out a complete incident report with all the details. The parties involved would be the medical team and the volunteers.
In order to communicate with volunteers and attendees, we will use a special weather color code list. It is a weather warning system to inform what to expect about the weather on the event day. Due to it's an outdoor event, it's important to be prepared for different weather conditions.
Next and the last risk is the human trafficking. If there is a missing person or a missing child due to human trafficking, we would use yellow as a situation code. There will be medical tents and police stations on the main areas of the event venue. Those stations will have people trained to conduct cases of missing people. Therefore, if a person or child gets separated from family, they're able to reach out to these stations and communicate the situation. Volunteers must notify the security immediately or 911 if they find a human trafficking suspect. We would fill out a full and detailed incident report for this kind of cases. And the parties involved would be the volunteers, event security, and the police. And that's all for today. Thank you for taking out your valuable time in hearing us. We appreciate that and hope you had a wonderful time. We wish you all the very best in future, and yes guys, stay connected. Thank you.